Well, the fall session of Parliament is officially underway.
I thank the Prime Minister for calling a prompt by-election. I wonder if one day he might regret that decision.
Sure, I speak for all parliamentarians in welcoming the member for Battle River Crowfoot back to the House of Commons.
Prime Minister Mark Carney and Conservative leader PM Poilievre sharing their first exchanges in the House of Commons yesterday afternoon. Budget issues are certainly a key topic, as Carney has signaled the fall budget deficit will be much bigger than last year's, in part because of those U.S. tariffs and the government's response.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister mentioned how much had changed, and it's true. I look around this place, and when I left, there was a Liberal Prime Minister who was making excuses about breaking promises, running massive deficits, costs, crime, chaos were all out of control. And whereas today, we have a Liberal Prime Minister breaking promises, making excuses, running massive deficits with costs, crime, and chaos out of control. Mr. Speaker, when will the Prime Minister match the grand promises with the real change Canadians need?
Mr. Speaker, I understand the Minister, or the Minister, promotion. Come on over. I understand the Leader of the Opposition was busy. He missed the largest tax cut for 22 million Canadians. He missed the cut on the GST for new homes. He missed eliminating all federal barriers to trade. He missed. I hope I'll have another opportunity to finish a very long list of what.
Okay, so joining us live now is CTV political commentator Tom Mulcair. Tom, great to see you again. So yesterday, it was kind of gloves off in the boxing match between Prime Minister Carney and PM Poilievre, leader of the opposition. What was your big takeaway about how this dynamic has changed now that Justin Trudeau is no longer there?
Well, as those questions and answers suggest, the Poilievre approach is to say basically nothing's changed. We've just changed the guy who's in the chair. They're still running huge deficit. Nothing's getting done. What I also found interesting, other than the substance of the debates, because most of what we heard there could have been written last week and nothing would have changed, was the tone of PM Poilievre. He seems to have taken to heart. It's not a criticism. It's more of a suggestion that came from a lot of Canadian voters and observers. Tone it down. You can be very sharp in your exchanges in the House, but you don't always have to scream at your adversary, and you don't always have to be snarky. So that part, I think, has gone through. It's interesting also to note that Mr. Carney, as we saw in that exchange, has yet to completely master the art of being a politician, although he is learning the reflex of not answering the question and pivoting to the 22 million Canadians who are paying lower taxes because of a tax cut. So on both sides, there are some changes, and I think that it augurs well for a good substantive debate through the fall.
Mr. Mulcair, you were certainly known for your sharp questioning during question period. I can remember your performances there. What do you think, though? This is an interesting parliament right now. It's a Liberal minority government, but 3 seats shy of a majority here. A budget maybe coming end of next month or maybe early in November here. Is that really the point we should all be looking towards to see where this parliament really goes?
Absolutely, Nick. And I would add to that people tend to forget that they don't have to wait to be defeated on a confidence motion. The Liberals can pull the plug at any time and go to an election themselves. But look at the forces arrayed against the Liberals right now. The Conservatives will vote against them automatically on every confidence vote. The Bloc Québécois thinks they lost far too many seats to Mark Carney last time around, and they're spoiling for a fight. So that leaves the 8 seats, 7 of which belong to the NDP. 1, of course, is Elizabeth May's Green Party. They're going to be the ones to decide whether or not this government gets defeated on a confidence motion. Now, I don't sense any strong desire on the part of the 7 remaining NDPers to go to an election anytime soon. They don't even have a leader right now. So you can safely assume that we're going to be able to hobble through this thing for the next year or so. But after that, all bets are off, because we're going to have an election long before what would normally be a 4-year mandate. I don't think that there's any possibility that we'll get through that.
Yeah, and Tom, what do you think the biggest challenge is for Prime Minister Carney right now? I mean, it's a different time in terms of Canadians' priorities when he was elected to be Prime Minister. At that time, Trump, the tariffs, that was top of mind, elbows up. But now it seems that a lot of Canadians are more focused about the things that Poilievre was campaigning on, the cost of living, domestic issues.
And that's why cost of living and housing inflation. Those are all part of the rhetoric that the Liberals are adopting right now. They've proven themselves very adept at stealing the ideas and the lines of attack of the Conservatives. They're going to continue doing that. But Canadians really are worried. And I think that Carney has to remain Carney. He's got great people around him. They'll teach him the art of getting a 30-second answer together for question period. But he's also got to remain that person who's a bit above the fray, who has a long-term vision of what has to happen. He's skillfully avoided having direct conflict with Trump. They seem to be in relatively constant conversation, if not, texting to each other. And I think that Canadians still hold out a lot of hope that that main problem that we've got, which is the unpredictability, frankly, of the current American administration, is in good hands with Carney. The other stuff, I mean, I think that the Conservatives have a really, really rich vein to mine around the question of bureaucracy, because Mr. Carney says he's all in favor of reducing, the size of government. It'll happen through attrition. That's wishful thinking. You have to go after the 40% increase in the government that Mr. Trudeau brought in and do that automatically. And it can't, there's no escaping that. But Carney, at the same time, is somebody who understands that you've got to do this carefully. You've got to keep an eye on the bottom line. They leaked yesterday, the Liberals did, that there could be a $100 billion deficit in the next budget. If that's the case, then the gloves really will be off, because then the Conservatives get to say, look, you don't even know how to manage. And it's not true that you're capable of taking care of the Canadian economy. So stay tuned. They've pushed the budget back, by the way. It was supposed to be next month in October. They've pushed it back to November now. So we'll see what's in it.
Yeah, it's going to be very fascinating to watch. And I'm sure Tom will speak to you between now and then. That is CTV political commentator Tom Mulcair. Thanks again for the time this morning.
Thank you.
Have a great day.